Hello everyone, welcome back. SimCFI here. We're in the A2A Simulations Cessna 182T, and I've had some viewer requests to do landings in this airplane, and so that's what we're going to do today, some pattern work. We're lined up on runway 32 at Marysville, Yuba County Airport, Northern California. I'm going to take away this yoke. We're going to put the yoke back so you can see what I'm doing instead of taking it away. And we'll get the mixture rich, and we'll get going. Smoothly advance the power to full. Check to make sure oil, temperature, pressure's in the green. Make sure we have the appropriate amount of manifold pressure, that's about 29 inches. RPM is at max, airspeed is alive. Slowly bring the nose up. Smoothly, I should say. Feed in appropriate right rudder. Flyer, runway centerline. We'll raise the nose a little bit above the horizon for this airplane for VY at 80 knots. As far as airspeeds go, you pretty much fly like a 172. You'll just be able to climb better. And I'm getting roughly about 1,000 feet per minute steady when we get 80 knots here. And in the Comanche, I would bring back the RPM about 100, but in this plane, its max RPM is only 2,400 to begin with, and so that's good enough. We'll just keep all the power in for the climb. Remember, we don't reduce the throttle because it helps cooling. Make sure we got the cowl flaps open. Okay, 800 feet. We're within 300 feet of pattern altitude. We'll make our crosswind turn now. Now I'm not pushing left rudder, I'm just using slightly less right rudder. Okay, now we're at altitude. Let the nose come down. Let the power come back out. Roll wings level for crosswind. Look left and right. Now we're turned downwind. And we're just setting a power setting that gives us about 90 knots in the pattern. And that's going to be about 18 inches of manifold pressure in this airplane at max RPM, or at least with the prop to full. Okay, we're turning on downwind. Got about 18 inches set, 17, 18. Climb back up for our altitude here. And now we put the nose into our level flight attitude, looking outside. Checking inside for the instruments, doing a quick scan. Now a little bit of nose down trim. Making sure we're flying parallel to the runway. And this is where you can do your GUMP checklist. Gas, proper tank, undercarriage we don't have, but we can close our cowl flaps. Mixture, rich, prop full, seatbelt switches. Okay, we're at beam touchdown point. We're going to reduce the power to about 15 inches, 10 degrees flaps. Hold the nose level. Wait for 80 knots. And now we'll descend at 80 knots. That'll give us about 500 feet per minute. A little bit of nose down trim to help hold it there steady. We're about 45 degrees off. We'll hold it just a bit more. We're a little high. Alright, now we're turning base. Add a second notch of flaps. Look outside, keep the nose about steady, so bring it back a little bit. There we go. It's going to balloon a little bit when you add those flaps, but as we're turning, the nose is going to want to dip, so it takes a little bit of back pressure throughout most of that turn. Okay, now we roll wings level. We're going to check the runway. Check final for traffic, turn final. I think we're going to overshoot center line a bit here, but that's okay. Just hold a nice safe bank angle, keep the ball coordinated. Oh, there we go, we're on center line. Okay, now here's where we're picking our aiming point. So I'm aiming for the numbers. We're going to keep the numbers in about lower center position of the windscreen like this. And then now it's just between the reference point and airspeed. Airspeed's a little fast, we'll add full flaps. I still have about 15 inches. And now we're still high and still fast, so I'm going to reduce the power to idle nice and smoothly. So now power is idle, we have full flaps. A little bit left to center line. Let the plane drift over to the right. There's a slight left to right crosswind. Wind's about 3, 4, 5. Well, that'll be right to left. Just see whatever it wants to do with us with the nose. Looks like it's tracking pretty straight. So now we're just holding it off. We're doing the round out, holding it off. There we go, on the mains. Let it come down on the nose wheel. Now I will open the cowl flaps, raise the flaps, reset the trim, and we're going to smoothly advance to full power again. Temperature, pressures in the degree, and airspeed's alive. We got manifold pressure and RPM. Slowly bring the nose up, smoothly bring the nose up to above the horizon line. Add in right rudder. This will give us about 80 knots for VY, which is the best rate of climb. Now if I was going to do, if this is taking off to get into a cross country or any longer flight, then after about 1,000 feet or so, I'd probably pitch forward to 85, 90, or even 95 knots, or whatever the recommended en route climb speed is in the VOH. That'll give you better cooling and better visibility for a longer climb. But for pattern work, it's nice to just get as high as we can, as fast as we can. Just making sure we're watching the temperature, especially the cylinder head temperature. Remember that's governed, you can control CHTs a bit with your cowl flaps. Okay, we'll turn crosswind, a little bit later turning into it. Now we need to make sure we level off, reduce power, and continue our crosswind turn. Keeping that nose level now. And I'm just using that HSI heading bug to help square up the turns here. It's also good to find points outside to use as landmarks. And it's a little bit easier with low-wing Pipers in the pattern to keep looking out the window of the runway. But as you can see in the turn in a Cessna, it's harder to see. So I usually wait till we roll out like this. So you can still visually fly and visually keep yourself parallel and perpendicular on the legs. Okay, so now we're at pattern altitude 1,100 feet. Close the cowl flaps. And then we can do the other checks now. We got mixture rich, prop full, gas is in the right position, seatbelt switches, that's gumps. Gas into carriage, mixture prop, seatbelt switches, that's usually what I do. Got about 17 inches it looks like. Flying parallel, keeping it roughly halfway up the wing strut. Okay, we're coming up on a beam, the touchdown point. So now we're going to reduce power to 15 inches and add 10 degrees flaps. Hold the nose forward a bit so it doesn't balloon too much. Wait for 80 knots. And now we descend to 80 knots. Just let the nose come down a little bit by looking upside and then add nose down trim to help hold it constant. So you don't have to hold pressure. Double check my 15 inches. Okay, so we're descending at 80 knots, 500 feet per minute. Waiting for the 45 degrees off. Right around 900 feet will do it. So now we'll turn left base. Add the second notch of flaps. It's going to balloon a little bit, but as we're going into the turn, we're losing some of that vertical lift, so it cancels each other out. And now we have to hold the stick back, keep the nose from dropping. Okay, we're on base, roll wings level. Check the runway. Check final for traffic. Now we'll turn final. A little bit early. It's just shallow at the bank. A little high though, so we're going to add full flaps now. See what that does to our speed. Doing pretty good for now. I'll keep the power in for now. Now remember, it's all about airspeed and your reference point, keeping the numbers lower center position of the windscreen, glancing at that and the airspeed. That's all we're concerned about. We're a little high and fast, so I'm going to pull power now to idle. The nose drops a little bit. Okay, we're left to center line. Let's get over on center line. Keep the nose coming down. Now we round out. A little too much. Hold it off, hold it off. There we go. Mains are touching. Let that nose come down gently. Now remember, with these A2A products, you gotta, if you're using rudder right before the nose touches, you just gotta let go of the rudder real quick, let that nose come down gently, and then you can start using the rudder again. Otherwise, it's gonna cause a little bit of a shake. Okay, so clean up the airplane. We'll cowl flaps open, flaps up, trim reset, slowly and smoothly advance power to full. Okay, we got temperature, pressure in the green. Airspeed's alive, we got manifold pressure, RPM where it needs to be. Smoothly bring the nose just above the horizon, add right rudder. You want to smoothly add that right rudder as you rotate the nose up, as you pitch the nose up, and then you'll play with that experiment and see exactly how much it is to make it really nice and smooth. So this next landing, we're going to do a power off 180 accuracy landing. That's where we are going. This is a maneuver you see first with the commercial pilot certificate on the check ride, in the United States at least. And the maneuver is your beam, your touchdown point. You pull power all the way to idle, and then you have to land at a specific spot on the runway with 100 feet after that. Crosswind. And now bring the nose to level. Always learn where your level flight attitude is for your nose, looking outside. Reduce power. Keep it around 90 knots. Now we're flying perpendicular for a brief second here in crosswind. Looking around for traffic. Now we turn downwind. The radio calls we would have used when we turn crosswind would be Marysville or Yuba County traffic, Skyline 587, turning left crosswind 32 Marysville, and then same for downwind and all the other ones. Marysville traffic, Skyline 587, turning left downwind 32 Marysville. Sometimes it's good to say that you're doing a touch and go 32 Marysville so they know. And then when you're getting ready to take off back on the ground, I usually don't say taking the active, because at a non-towered airport, any runway can be the active at any time. And so I just say what I'm doing. I just say, you know, Marysville traffic, Skyline 587, departing 32, closed traffic, Marysville. If I'm staying in the pattern, that's what I do. Alright, gas, undercarriage. So I'll replace that for cowl flaps. Mixture prop seatbelt switches. Can reduce to 15 inches, 10 degrees flaps. Hold the nose level. Wait for 80 knots and we'll descend to 80. We're going a little bit past. We haven't descended yet, so we're going to be a little extra high this time. That's what I was supposed to do, power off 180. Okay, we're back here on downwind. Beam the numbers, or beam the touchdown point. We're going to reduce the throttle to idle now for the power off 180 accuracy landing. We're going to let our speed decay down to best glide, which is 76 knots in this airplane. And now we'll start turning. We'll add the first notch of flaps now. Straighten it out for a bit, see how we're doing. Let's turn back in. Keep it around best glide. Next notch of flaps. Okay, we're a little fast. I'm gonna slip it a bit. Let that nose come down. Bring it out. Go full flaps. Shooting for the beginning of the third stripe here. power is out this whole time. Pretty good. See, I had the rudder and as the nose was coming down, and so it caused a little shake. Now for braking, just remember, pull the yoke back before you apply brake. Keeps the pressure off the nose wheel. And that'll just about do it for this video on landing the 182. Did some pattern work. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video.